Hello, everyone. We are live, episode 2 of The Reckoning. What I'm going to do is have a look, make sure I've got everything running technically to make sure I can see everybody's comments, since the last time I couldn't. So if people want to bear with me, how do I see the live? Can you check if we're live on all platforms? I can see Instagram here. But I can't see comments or anything. No idea. Hello, Hamid.
Hello, Lewis.
Better late than never, right?
Apologies for that. When I clicked on the link, for some reason it said no signal, it could not be loaded, so I had to quickly update my Chrome. But yeah, I'm here now. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm just trying to look at some technical stuff. It's a one strike and you're out. So, but since I'm working on some technical elements, I'm gonna forgive for not showing up on time. But that for anybody who's coming on, what you want to apply, the link's on the screen. It is a one strike you're out policy. If you don't show up on time, you're losing your session. So, I'm here to help people. So please. Hamid shared there that there are technical issues, so that's great to hear. So people can come on early to address that.
Yeah, because
Instagram's not live.
Beforehand, yeah.
Okay, so we're not live. We're live on TikTok. Looks like we're not live on Instagram.
Okay, interesting. So I was lucky then in that regard. Once again, I do apologize. It's completely my fault.
Man.
It was completely my fault. It said loading, and I was like, God, what the hell? Hurry up! What's going on? It was strange. I was working yesterday, so I'm not sure what happened there. But how have you been?
Good. So yesterday we spent a day with a client. We systemized his current business, and we are currently looking at buying a business with him, which is awesome.
Nice.
Let me see if I do a new stream link on Instagram and see if we can fix that. Have you got your questions prepared?
Yep, I do.
Good. So live video. I think I'm just gonna have to create a new one. Public next. I think it's because I meant to click the go live button on Instagram as well, because although I'm running with a software, it's quite fiddly with how it links. So I'm live on YouTube. YouTube loves the software.
Yeah.
And TikTok surprisingly likes it.
That's good to know, at least.
Yeah, it should have just went live. So it looks like we're missing Instagram today. I can't see comments on TikTok. I can only see them on. Okay, how can I see them though? TikTok Studio, Live Tools, Live Center. Oh no, wait, we're going live on. Yep, there we go. We're live on Instagram, so now I can see that.
Is that what I could see? Who's also viewing this? Because I can't really see anything on my side.
Oh, yep, great. Yep, there we go. We are working on Instagram. Fantastic.
We're live everywhere, guys. We're live everywhere.
So, Hamid, would you like to start off by introducing yourself to everybody so they can become aware of you and your business for the benefit of the audience?
Absolutely. So my name is Hamid Ensaf. I'm 21 years old. I'm currently based in Germany, grew up in the UK. And as of this moment, I run a lead generation marketing company for coaches, consultants, and business owners specifically. And what we do is we help business owners and all of the people I just mentioned generate 300 to 1,000 leads on Instagram every single month. So that is essentially, in a nutshell, what it is I do. So yeah, that's pretty much all that goes into it.
Fantastic. So where would you say you're stuck right now, and where do you need help?
So in terms of being stuck at the moment, for me, it's more so about the right now it's about the client relationship that I'm kind of struggling with at the moment, because client acquisition, I understand the concept of, it's about the amount of people you reach out to, network with, all that kind of stuff. But for me, it's what I'm realizing now is people are coming in. Like just yesterday, I closed another client. It was fantastic. But like the longevity, the LTV of that client is not as high as I'd like it to be. So sometimes they'll stay on for like 2 months, 3 months. Even in some cases, they actually get pretty good results. Like we had a client do very good results, but then they want to churn out pretty quickly, and I was kind of scratching my head. So that's the question that I pose to you: is how do you increase the LTV of a client and make sure that they don't churn out as quick?
Okay.
Right, the fact that sometimes the service actually is very, very good. So what are your thoughts on that, Lewis?
Okay, so I mean, obviously, when we talk about lifetime value, we usually think of more monetary elements: upsells, cross-sells, downsells, continuity offers. But it sounds like churn is the main thing there. So what you're saying that people are churning out. At what stage would you say that they're churning? So can I get an idea of what is the churn percentage? Are they staying for 1 month and leaving? Because that's a different conversation from if they're coming out typically 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. It's a very different conversation.
So right now, what we're seeing, it's between 1 month and 3 months. It's between that range. So a lot of the clients, these are the ones who typically don't have as much money. They churn out within 1 month. But the clients that have more money, they'll typically stay for around 3 months, and then they'll leave. And when I ask them for the reason why, the reasons vary a lot of the time. Some people say, oh, it's because of cost reasons, which I scratch my head about. And also, they also say they found a quote unquote more efficient way of doing it. And then they come back sometime and say, actually, I do want to continue, which I did have a case where that happened one time. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing so far.
Okay. So it sounds like, I mean, cost-wise, it could well be expectations. So, are we getting clear value? Are they getting, if you sell them on the world and they go, oh, this is a lot of money for me, but I'm going to get amazing results, and they come in believing that, and then they don't get these amazing results because a lot of the time, the results may be amazing compared to other systems, but maybe what they thought and what they classed as amazing. So setting that expectation and clear communication to them so they know this is what we are expecting to get. Do you feel like there's a breakdown there?
Actually, I do. Maybe this might be a personal thing, so I'm very curious to know what it is. But I personally feel as though when I manage expectations in that regard, and I'm like not completely realistic, but like don't sell them the world, the client acquisition drops. And when that happens, then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I have costs. I got this to do. I need to make sure money's coming in, and it is coming in. So my fear is if I manage the expectations, it's not that I don't manage expectations. I always tell them what they're going to get. But obviously in sales, you kind of have to, at times hype up yourself because you have to talk about how great the product is and how it benefits people. But yeah.
A simple line I like to use in sales is I would ask them, what needs to happen for you to say that this was a success working together? And let them create the expectations. If they then go, oh, I'm expecting this, then you need to kind of go, whoa, we need to pull that down. But what that might actually mean, if they expect this, you could come in with the, oh, okay, well, if that's what you're looking for, then I actually recommend this. This comes back into my sell like a doctor that I talk about. Like, based on what you've told me, this is the thing that you need to help you. You write the prescription, you send them away, they're happy, they're getting the results. But if they expect this, you deliver this, they're going to churn out for sure.
Yeah, I love that analogy when you mentioned it was the doctor analogy. You have to kind of prescribe them the medicine.
Yeah.
But that's a question that leads into the next question I want to ask is, how do you manage expectations without having a drop in client acquisition in that regard to focus more on the LTV?
Yeah, there will always be a drop, because if you promise people the world and you're like, oh, you're gonna be a millionaire by tomorrow, then yeah, you're gonna have a high people come in. But when
I
they're not
don't
a
promise
millionaire the
that.
next day, they're, well,
I don't promise that. I don't promise that. So guys are going to be a billionaire by
it is
tomorrow.
that balance. And like for me, I would rather have a lower close rate but a super high LTV, to the point where I'll turn people down if I don't think they're a good fit, because there's a lot of work that goes into the front end. So my question would come in here would be, what is your kind of customer acquisition cost? Like, are you investing a lot of time and effort to close them and to deliver on them and set them up on the systems and the process you've got for them to churn a month later? Then you go, we didn't actually make any money. Or if you did make money, you maybe made very little.
Okay.
So
To that note, the way in which I kind of go about, attaining clients is I'm a value first person. I'm a big believer in that. Give as much value as you can, provide value. So I'll literally like hop on a call for like 30 minutes and give them a whole strategy as to how to generate leads on Instagram and showcase my worth, if you would say, in that regard, and then pitch the sales call, to which like 90% of the time they're like, yeah, no problem, I'll join. We've only had like a handful of cases where they haven't showed up or they've like straight up declined. And then in that call, it's very straightforward. It's like, this is the service, this is the price, this is what to expect, this is the guarantee. And they buy or they don't. Close rates around 30 to 40% so far from what I'm seeing with the numbers. So
which I'm super happy with hearing that rate,
yeah.
You hear some people talk about 40, 50, 60. 40, 50, 60 is coming from people who are already in your ecosystem. You maybe have a brand or something that they want to work with you specifically. Whereas if you're doing a cold funnel, where you've got a marketing funnel, whether that's cold outreach, whether that's ad spend, whether that's whatever type of cold marketing, I'm happy at 30 to 40% close rate by the time you've got them on. So if that drops to 25, but people are then going to stay with me for longer because I've managed expectations, then that's a net positive. And you're also spending less time and hassle acquiring these customers, because sometimes what I say that I love to say to people is, you want to be able to fire your clients. You want to, if somebody's not a good fit, like a lot of people have heard of the Pareto principle, which is known as the 80-20 principle. And it's true in business. 80% of your income is going to come from 20% of your clients. Those 20, you want more of them. So if you've got somebody who's scraping along and they want the world, they're texting you every day, they're asking questions about it, they want updates of that, and you're like, hey, this guy's on a $300 a month service. Let's just fire this client, because I've got other clients that are paying me multiple thousand a month, and I don't even hear from them. They show up on their monthly review, and that's it. So you do tend to find people who have more money also tend to have better expectations. So if you're targeting a lot of people that are maybe not got the money and they need it to work, if they're relying on, when we ask that question, what needs to happen for you to say this is success? If they turn around and say, I need to close a client in the next 30 days, then that might tell me, without them saying, they don't have money to pay next month. So these are the kind of red flags I'm going to look for.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's actually a very good question. And thankfully, this is recorded. I'm going to go back to this. I didn't want to write this down in case I missed some more great value from you there. So sure. That's the thing that I kind of struggle with then in that regard, which is the element of turning them down, because I do believe the service can help anyone if they have a business on Instagram.
Yeah. Absolutely. To help everyone is to help nobody.
Yeah. I can't help everyone, obviously. Yeah. There are some people I can't help at all, but it is more of a long-term play. Like, it is like the longer you're on it, the better the results come. As time goes on, it's much better. And ultimately, the people who receive the most results are the ones who are on it for the longest. People who are in the beginning stages, they're not on it as much. They just churn out. They're like, it's not it. They'll still like a high-ticket service, and then they'll just not see results in the first month. I'm like, you can't even close it. But that's if the client acquisition percentage drops, that's, I guess, maybe like I don't use the word fear, but it's like the realm of uncertainty going to. It's like, how far will it drop? Like, is it 25%? Like, if I knew it was 25%, all right, absolutely, I'll go for it. But if it's like 15%, 10%,
if it drops by 50%, but people stay 10 times longer, You're net up 5x.
Yeah.
So when we break down the maths, it's actually, if people are going to stay, it's even worth it. Even so, if you drop from 30% down to 15%, 50% drop, and then even if you say they stay 3 times longer, you're still up 1.5 times more money.
That's true. Yeah. LTV wise.
Yeah. Because these repeat months, you're not putting the work in. The system's running. They get their review. They get their feedback. They get their things up. I imagine we'll have a lot of this will be automated. So I think it's going to potentially be beneficial. I also want to dive back into that churn. When people are leaving, tell me more about these conversations and what people are saying, because there could be, this a common problem that people who generate leads or do marketing services is, hey, we can bring you leads, but if you can't close them, and then they blame you for your leads weren't good. So they're like, no, your sales process is atrocious. We can't fix your business. So is there a breakdown there? And again, this is coming into why I don't want to sell a marketing service to somebody who's not making money, because if they're not making money, that means they probably don't know how to sell. They probably don't know how to deliver a back end on their product.
Yeah, I really appreciate that question. So in that regard, I did have the question here ready as well. I was going to ask it, but it's the biggest thing I'm seeing is it's either money. They just don't have the money to continue. In that case, it tells me, okay, maybe we shouldn't have sold to them in the first place, because it is more of a long-term play. And number two, sometimes it is I guess you could say quality of leads, but it's not quality of leads that the leads are bad. It's not, because it's the first month. We tell them this up front. The first month is the lowest performing month. We tell them this up front. But it's strange because I feel like they forget, which is weird.
Do you tell them why?
I tell them why, because it's it's the warm-up process. We have to figure it out. We have to, make sure that everything, goes to plan. Obviously, it's about figuring out where most of your leads reside and all that kind of stuff to bring the right leads over. The best leads are going to come in the third, fourth, fifth months, etc. That's where you're going to close down. You just get one sale. If you sell high-ticket stuff, one sale covers it for a full year. But I tell them that in the first call, in the sales call, and they're like, okay, absolutely. And then they get exactly what I told them, and somehow they're disappointed by it. And I'm scratching my head thinking, what's the reason why? So where did I go wrong?
Do you do monthly reviews?
I hop on a call monthly to go over it? Not necessarily, no.
Well, and I would certainly in the beginning, I would maybe say, look, as part of I would have my packages in the beginning. I would say we have a 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and 12-month review. And the higher package, that becomes monthly. So when you come in for that monthly review, you come in and you say, hey, great news. They're coming in thinking, oh, it's not performing, I'm not happy. And then you come in and go, great news, by the way, you're actually outperforming our average based on the warm-up. Okay. You're on track to be one of our top performing people. And now they've went from, oh, really? Because they don't know how it's meant to work. You do. You could look at it and because you've done this 100 times for 100 other people, this is normal, but they don't know it's normal. So you're creating that, breaking that pattern and reframing what they think is a negative. I'll give you a really great example. It's called I forget. It's a type of psychology, but we use it in business. And an example was, there was a pilot on an airliner that, everybody always complains when the bus comes. They go, oh, I have to get a bus. And then a pilot completely reframed that. And all he said was, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is another airplane has taken our gate. So we're unable to go into the usual gate. So you're not going to be able to, we've had to be parked further away. I can't remember the exact story. He says, but the good news is there's going to be a bus that's going to take you straight to passport control. And then the whole plane goes, oh, wait a minute. A bus is actually a good thing, because we don't need to walk with all our luggage to passport. The bus takes you straight there, but we instantly think, oh, for God's sake, the bus. And it's, so knowing that, we know they're going to come in thinking, oh, for God's sake, it's not performing. And you go, this is great, actually. Here's the good news.
Okay, interesting.
And also, if you have bad news, if it isn't performing and there's something wrong, you say, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is there's something not right in your account. The good news is your account's been performing average despite this. So if we fix it, it's going to do even better next month. And they go, oh, great. So now they're more likely to stay. And then because you know it takes a month to set up, month 2 will be better, month 3, and then month 3 you have that next review. So you come in and you say, hey, great, everything's up and running. I want to check in. And that's your point where you're upselling now, because now they're feeling better. And you say, great, everything's in place. Are there any changes we need made? Nope, great, everything's working as planned. Just want to ask, how many people have you converted? Oh, only 2 people. Interesting. Tell me more about that. And then you might even find that maybe there's a problem with their sales process. And then you can turn around and say, hey, I think that your sales process might not be optimal. Now, that's not our area of expertise, but I do know somebody that can help you with that. Would you like me to refer you to them? And then if you then, me talking about deals of that I also love, is I'd have a deal with the person that can help that. And you say, hey, I've got a lead for you. I'm going to bring this lead in. They then fix the back end for them.
The sales.
You've created the front end. Now your client's staying for life, because not only did you provide them the leads, you connected them with the person that helped their back end. So they're double grateful for you.
Okay, wow, I didn't expect that. And as you were talking about the bus analogy, obviously, because I travel pretty often for like masterminds and things like that. Every time a bus comes, like, flip's sake, you got a bus now. Are you serious? Can't be asked. But there was one time where someone next to me did say that. I was like, we're quite away from the passport control. Thankfully, there's a bus coming over, so we could take it. I was like, all right, yeah, fantastic. It was like
simple reframe.
Exactly. It's like there was rain. So I was like, I don't want to be in the rain. They're like, okay, thankfully there's a bus, the shelter, because we were in Edinburgh at the time. We know what the weather is like there. So, it works. It works. There is another thing that I think could be the problem. I want to know your opinion on this. So obviously we know that in sales, we have to talk a lot about the dream outcomes and the positives. And obviously we have to manage expectations at the same time. But the way in which I manage expectations is that I'll bring it up and I'll mention it, but I don't put too much emphasis on them. Like, hey, generally speaking, the first month is the lowest performing month. That is true. However, and then I'll talk about all the benefits and all that kind of stuff. So then when the final month, the end of the month comes around, and then they get exactly what I told them they should expect, because I didn't put too much emphasis on it, maybe that could be a reason as to why they were also disappointed, because they might have forgotten. Should I put more emphasis then on the negatives and the potential, I guess you could say, not pitfalls, but just to manage expectations properly, or is that something I shouldn't do?
With telling people negatives, it builds more trust. If you can be open and honest and say, hey, this part's not that great, but this, and this, best in the market. By being open and honest about that, it allows people to trust you more.
Okay.
So managing expectations is a great way of showing, here's, like, I openly tell people on here, like, I will get less leads, because I'm not going to promise that you're going to be a millionaire by the end of the month. Well, there are people out on social media claiming you will, but then my lifetime value is 20 to 100 times greater than theirs, because they'll buy one course, not get results, and never work for that person again. Whereas I'll get less people come in, but the people will get results with me, and then they'll work with me for a long time. So although I get less leads, I actually make more.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's having that balance. And for the dream outcome, I always like to frame that in 12 months. So I'd be coming and say, hey, Hamid, in 12 months' time, what needs to have achieved, or what needs to have happened for you to look back and go, this was a successful year, this was worth it. And we take that and we anchor that to 12 months. Because if we say it's going to happen in a month, 2 months, 3 months, it maybe can. But what if we have an issue? What if their account gets disconnected? What if we have problems getting them in? And they spend a week that they didn't reply. They went away on holiday. They came back, and then you get back on, and then it's an argument. It's I never got the results. Oh, but you went away on holiday, and we tried to get your account, and this is why, and that's why, and it's just back and forth. But over the case of 12 months, it becomes just noise. They'll forget about that. 1 week's not going to matter. 1 week out of a month is a lot. 1 week out of a year is nothing. So if we can stretch that dream outcome over 12 months, and then they now know they need to stay for 12 months to get that.
Yeah, I mean, it is something we have been trying to implement more of. It's just that fear element of what if there's a drop in the acquisition? Like, how far is the drop?
Why would they drop if you're saying they're going to get the results? You're just saying the results will be 12 months, and you're not telling them it'll take 12 months. You're letting them make that decision. You ask the question, what needs to happen in the next 12 months of us working together? You've planted the seed. Okay, we're working together for 12 months. Okay, well, if I acquire 12 new clients from a high ticket program, I would say that was worthwhile. Okay, great. So, and you work backwards from that. And then when you get on that call, you would take note of that because that would go in the CRM links to them. So when they get on that review call, you say, hey, how are you getting on with the calls? And they say, oh, I signed up one person. You're like, okay, great. So that's 1 out of the 12. So we need to get another 11. What's the plan? And I would put it back on them. What's your plan to get the next 11? And you're indirectly coaching them. They're going to go, well, actually, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Great. I love that. Let me know how you get on in the next review. You got in the next review. Hey, last review, you said you're going to do this, this, and this. How is that going for you? Now, if they say, oh, this didn't work because of that or because of that, because of that, you've started the call there and you found, actually, we weren't the issue. You've just admitted on the call that your sales process wasn't working. You delivered.
But it's
so you're both helping them and protecting yourself.
Okay.
This is also selling like a doctor, so what doctors do as well. Doctors obviously always try and protect themselves.
Because in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, like, when I'm on a call, I call my team, like, guys, we have to get them results. Like, but then I'm viewing the lens of they have to close a client, but we're not in control of how many clients, because we can get them the most amazing leads ever. If they can't close, like, there's only so much we can't really do much. We could maybe advise, help a little bit here and there, I suppose. I don't know if you would recommend that, but we do that sometimes. Like, hey, this is how I would go about closing leads. Do this, and this. This is what works for me. Sorry, I didn't.
I would partner. No, it's okay. I'd partner with somebody on that level that can fix that. You're an expert here. Partner with the expert here, and then eventually partner with the expert here. And I talk about going vertical. Long term, you want to own all of that. So that's why I'm saying partner. Like, if you can have a piece of that, great. Like, if it's just a referral, fine. But long term, can I have a piece of that? Because now I can help my client from A to Z. And then you're going to tell them, you say, hey, look, I know somebody can help you with this. If you do it through us, we're incentivized for it to work. Because if this works, you're going to stay a client with us for everything. I can't guarantee that the other person will work because I don't know their business model. But what I can tell you is if you work with us and you work with these people, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we get the results here.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned partnerships there. That was one of the questions I have here, which is how, and me and my business partner, it's my brother, we've been talking about this, and we kind of had a bit of a, not clash, but like a bit of a debate on it. The topic of how far should we be willing to go with partnerships? So with a lot of partnerships, we go a lot into the minus, and I'm like, all right, cool. The reason for this is LTV, long-term value. Like, do we believe that if we go to the minus for this period of time and they get us this, it makes up for in the long term? Now, the kind of clash comes there in how far should we be willing to go? And I pose a question to you regarding partnerships. How far should we be willing to go in terms of partnerships, going into the minus, taking up costs, giving them value in order to eventually get that end of the fruits at the end of the labor, I suppose. How far should we be willing to go in that regard? Because
there's a reframe. There's a reframe that I want to use there, because there was 2 keywords I picked up that you said: cost and minus.
Yeah.
For me, it's an investment. I'm investing into this relationship. I'm investing into this opportunity. Not all investments make money.
Yeah.
I have invested in many things that went to zero, and that money's gone. But more of my investments have had a high return. Not necessarily more of my, if I was to count each individual investment, not necessarily every one of them. It's going back to our close rate. I might make 10 investments. If 9 of them go to zero, but one of them 100x's, I'm up.
Yeah.
But am I comfortable enough to do those 9?
Yeah.
That's what I do with relationships too. I invest a lot of time, money, effort into working and collaborating with people, I'm not guaranteed to make money from it.
So then that kind of makes me want to ask then, what's the criteria regarding that? Like, what constitutes someone being worth taking that, you know, huge investment into? So if we go to zero, we go into minus as an example. That's an investment, right? But who's worth doing that? Like, what's that criteria in your view?
That's a great question. I think that criteria is unique to each person. When I look at me, I'm looking at what is the opportunity here? How big is the opportunity? If I'm looking at a potential deal and I'm like, okay, I think I could make a couple of million off of this. Well, if I was to say to you, I have an opportunity that could make you a couple of million, would you be willing to invest a couple of 100,000 in order to make that couple of million? From a math point of view, you would say, yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, but then also I then need to go, okay, on how often do these work? Well, this might be a couple of million opportunity, but maybe I only get 1 out of 10. So let's go easy counting. It's a 1 million opportunity. 1 in 10 of them work. If I invest 100,000 into these and 1 out of 10 works, I've broken even. I've not made any money. So then I maybe need to go, okay, my max is 50,000. And what I like to try to do, certainly in my experience, is my labor is a big thing. My time and effort that I can bring value to people, because say I'm doing this, I'm on here for free. People could come on, they can apply to come on the show. I'm going to help you for free. That's my time. I charge 1,000 an hour, and you're on here for free. And also, bringing value in a different way with your labor is another great way to build a relationship. It doesn't need to be just here's free products.
I see. Okay. So in that regard, then, should partnerships be a absolute priority with the stage that we're currently at, or should it be more attaining clients?
I would try to have that balance. You need cash flow. You need to live. You need to run the business. You need to survive. Like, yes, absolutely focus on closing sales and cash flow. But what I always say is don't not think about the long term, because it might take 6 months to close a deal. Do you want to start that 6 months today, or do you want to wait 6 months till you're comfortable, and then it's another 6 months after that? So now it's a year away.
Yeah, I mean, cash flow. Basically, we have that pretty much. Like, we have the cash flow coming in. Like, we have that, and so should we focus on increasing the cash flow then, or the partnerships?
That never stops. It still has to keep growing.
Okay,
but if I can, I've always said the secret to my success has been strategic partnerships. Building relationships, doing deals with people, connecting, finding a way where we can both make money. You know, if I get on a sales call and I close one person, okay, great, I made money. Yeah. But if I get on a call where I could do a deal that brings 100 clients, it's the same hour of my time being on that call. I might invest more time into building the relationship. But if I take that same math, if I get 100 clients from that one person, if I spent the equivalent of 100 hours building that relationship, it's still net equal. And it's going to be less than 100 hours. And if I'm spending 100 hours with somebody, I'm going to much rather enjoy connecting and working with them than I would with some guy that I've just met for an hour.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So in terms of partnerships, then the current strategy or strategy in place that we pretty much have in terms of partnerships are obviously the referral, the standard referral, everyone knows what that is, and white labeling, pretty much, where people just white label it to their client base. Maybe they include it as a package in their deals or in their offers and things like that. Maybe they have a community, they offer it to them. So that's like the two ways we go about partnerships. Are there any other ways that you'd recommend me to implement, or would you say those two are the only ones? Or am I just overthinking?
I mean, there's loads of ways of doing it. What I love about business is as long as we both agree, we can do it. And that's the beauty of it. So I love these creative ideas that people might come up with. And that's why I love negotiating a deal, because it's, hey, what ideas can we come up with? Somebody might come to you and say, hey, I have a crazy idea. Are you open to this? And you might be like, I've never thought of that before, but it sounds interesting. I'm open to discussing and doing that. So I don't like to come in closed-minded with the sense of this is how I'm going to do the deal. I like to come into a deal with here's how I think it would work, but I'm very open to what do they think would work? Because especially if you're negotiating with somebody else, if they think it's a good idea, they're far more likely to do it. So rather than me trying to come in and say, this is how we're going to do it, and this is going to be great, and they're like, I'm not sure on that. Like, how do you think our relationship with us could work? How do you think we can make money together? And if they don't know, that's fine. You can open up and here's what I think we could do, but give them the space to decide how they would want to do it.
Yeah, because ironically, I do have 2 collaboration calls today with people who are trying to figure out how to partner together. One of them actually came to me and to talk about it. The other one, I pitched them. So I'll be pretty much giving my offer then, and I'm going, okay, this is what we sell. This is the price point, what we charge, what to expect, all that kind of stuff. And so what would you recommend then in that regard? Like, what should we first start off by mentioning referrals and white labels, or is there an example of another deal structure that we can offer to people in order to, pretty much use it, like have a partner in place?
It's the same as selling. I like to lead with that question. So I would ask them that question, like, if they're coming into the call already pre-phrased that they want to potentially collaborate. So I'd be starting with that, but hey, this call is is for us to discuss how we can potentially work together. So I want to just kick off straight away and tell me, how do you feel like we can work together? And let them start. And just like in sales, we're looking for information. When we pick and go, okay, that's useful. I'm going to take that and I'm going to go into that. And we can still direct them the way we want to go, but through their ideas and through what works for them. And I'm constantly going, okay, how can I make this work for you? And that's the beauty of what we can do as business owners that salespeople can't necessarily do, because a salesperson, they have to follow a process.
Yeah.
When you're doing deals, there's no process.
Yeah. But would that work with someone who I ask for their time on a call to pitch a partnership? Or should I only implement that with people who come to me asking for partnerships?
No, it works both ways.
Works both ways. So
Yeah.
if I ask someone to hop on a call to talk about potentially collaborating, and then I ask them, how do you see us collaborating?
Yeah.
Is that a question I should ask?
Yeah. Even if they turn around and say, I don't know, you've still given them the space for them to be able to say, rather than them thinking, oh, I'm just being sold to and I don't get a say in this. And, you're disarming that potential resentment, because people want to feel included. People want to share what they want to share. And this is something we do in coaching. And an example that I love to use was when I was a fitness coach. I fitness coached somebody without telling them anything. I just asked them questions. He came in, he worked with me, very overweight guy. He said to me, I really need to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, what ways have you thought about doing this? He's like, well, I could walk more. Oh, great. Okay, how much are you walking just now? Oh, I'm getting like 4,000 steps a day. Like, okay, how could you walk more? Well, I was thinking I can go for a walk at lunch. Great, love that idea. And he created his whole plan just by me asking him questions. And I was like, okay, tell me about your diet. He was like, oh, I have a tendency to drink a lot of Coke. And I was like, okay, what do you think we could do about that? He's like, well, I was thinking I could change that to sugar-free. Great, I love that idea. We're saving the calories, you're still getting the enjoyment. And all I was doing was reinforcing his good decisions. If he said something that wasn't a good idea, I would direct it and question away from that and focus on the things. So when I'm asking questions, I'm going, don't like that. Oh, that's good. I'll focus on that. And I'll go, oh, what you said there was really good. And that way it was his idea. So he can't now go, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm like, hey, this was your idea. It wasn't my idea.
Isn't it funny how we always have the answers to everything? We just need someone to ask us a bunch of questions so we can reveal it to us.
Yeah, and that's different levels of coaching. I like to go coaching versus mentoring as well. Like a mentor has answers that you maybe don't have. A coach, certainly on lower end coaching, they're just facilitating it out of you. And brainstorming with you. Yeah. So I can do that with people, but I also go, well, and what this show's about, okay, here's what you need to focus on, here's the answer. And that's why I asked you a lot of questions here as well. I didn't just go, do this. Because I wanted to get the context to give you the right advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, for anyone who's ever seen when they apply, they'll see what I talk about. That's the problem with AI. AI has a thing called sycophancy. And sycophancy is agreeing with you in order to be liked. So if you ever get somebody that's like, yeah, oh, I love that, and they're always agreeing with you, it's because they want to be liked by you. So they're trying to always agree. And AI does the same. Why? So that you'll use the AI. That's how they make money. They're a business. So if you've asked AI and it's told you, yeah, you're amazing, This is why you need to come on here, and I'm going to tell you
that
what you
part's
need to hear.
hilarious. Like I remember telling ChatGPT 1 + 1 is 3, and I fully believe it, and it responded something along the lines of, "You are very close. However, you are very close, and I admire it very much. However, realistically, it's blah blah blah." It was like the nicest way ever of telling me, "Hamid, you're stupid." It was the nicest way ever, like calling me dumb without actually calling me dumb. And I didn't feel insulted by it. So I think that was pretty interesting.
And it's designed for the masses. This is why I'm very big on, if there was something that one of my mentors told me before that I loved. If you're gonna race in the same car as everybody else, how are you going to get ahead? Like when you look at Formula One, it's not just the best driver. If you put Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen in a Haas F1 car, he's not going to win, because it's not just how good a driver he is. He's also got the best cars. That's why it's always the top three racers, or top three or top four, that are always coming in the top, because they have the best cars as well.
Yeah, I mean,
and you need to, if you're doing the same as everybody else, you're going to get the same results as everybody else. And AI is the mass marketed LLMs are aimed at the mass market. So they're going to appeal and tailor to the mass market, and they're going to do whatever the average person likes. And people want to feel good.
I'm glad you brought up AI. I didn't actually have this as a question, but continue brought it up. I have a question in my head that I want to ask to you regarding AI. So a lot of the times with AI, people kind of just rely on it at this point for filming content, for scripting, for outreach, for whatever. They'll use it for pretty much everything. At what point do you not use AI for something? Because I feel like AI is using literally, you're using AI for like everything at this point. And it's like, and it's very useful, but where do we draw the line with AI? Because I feel like I can sometimes use it a bit too much, and I rely on it, and then I don't critically think as much, and that affects my ability to crescendo. So where do we draw the line with AI?
Yeah, you've hit the exact point that I'm going to go on. The way I like to look at AI is I treat it like an employee. I have Lara behind the scenes right here, right now. She's in the office with me, and I give her tasks and she gets work output done, but she doesn't replace my thinking. I still have to decide what we're going to do. She may help me with that. She might be like, "Hey, I was reviewing this and I came up with this plan. What do you think?" And I'm like, "That sounds great. Let's do it." But I'm still having to think and process this. The problem that's going to come up is when people start using AI to outsource their own thinking. Use AI to brainstorm. Yes, I love it. Run ideas with it. However, be cautious with things like the sycophancy that you'll find on the typical AIs. That's why I've got an AI that I utilize for Profit Mind AI, and that there's a section called No BS Brain, or it will be straight with you, and I love it, and it's great. People hate it, but it's also it's the most highly used part of that AI, because you want to know the truth. If you want somebody to agree with you, you'll just go ask ChatGPT, like, "Tell me I'm pretty," and it will.
Yeah, pretty
And
well.
sometimes that's what people want, and that's fine. But when you're here to make a decision, to think of a process, to come up with ideas, you need to have your mind free. And we can't outsource that. You can't outsource your thinking, your ideas.
I'm not sure if you know, but there is this AI out there called like JT Brain AI or something like that. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it before, but it's like basically it does give you the answers a lot of the times for you. And sometimes when I'm contemplating a decision, I sometimes go and I'm like, all right, what's the answer for this? And I kind of write it out, and it's that urge to get the answer because I know it will give me the answer. So I'm thinking to myself, like, should I use the AI? Should I? Should I just replace my critical thinking with it, or should I not? Because the urge, it's like, I'll give you an analogy. The urge is like when you have cravings and you should be losing weight, but there's a chocolate bar just sitting there across the room from you. It's like the packaging, it's like screaming, telling you to eat it. How do you resist? I guess in that regard, like, how do you resist? Because it is so powerful and it is so good. So what would you say?
I'm all for use it, but I still need to have that time where I'm using my brain. It's like I still go to the gym and exercise. Why? because it's going to benefit me. I'm still going to do these things. I'm still going to eat healthy. I could just eat and eat chocolate. Well, is that going to benefit me? So I'm not saying don't ever eat chocolate. I eat chocolate, but I use it in a way that's aligned with my goals. So I'm all for you. This coming back to the employee analogy, like you need to hire employees and you need to have your employees think for themselves as well. I'm not going to have an employee that has to run everything by me. I'm like, no, I want you to think for yourself. Have the space to come up with ideas. Come up with the ideas and present them to me. Great, I love that. But I'm still not replacing my thinking with them, because I have experience and knowledge and nuance that the AI doesn't have, because I'm the one doing this. I'm living the business. I have the experience. An AI can't come up and say I've done this and I've done that. All it's done is read the books, read the information. It's a bit like when you see people online, like you could take somebody bigger, like say Alex or Mosey. You could word for word copy his content and you won't get views.
Because you don't have credibility.
Because it's his credibility that gets the views, not what he's sharing. Yes, what he's sharing is valuable and that's super important. And I encourage everybody, don't not make content because you don't have the credibility yet. Get out, produce the content and build the credibility as you go and show the credibility as it happens.
I see. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, that was a slight tangent there. But coming back to your AI, use it absolutely, but don't not have your thinking time. I'm very big on every person should have thinking time in their business. Go for a walk, have some time, go in the sauna, the hot tub, whatever it is that lets your brain go free. These are the points where you have ideas. When you're I had a good analogy there, but it kind of escaped me. But when you're you go to the gym, right? You can see that you work out, right?
I mean, I believe so.
Yeah. Sweet. When you're in the middle of a bench press and you're pushing that out and you're really focusing, how many times have you went, oh, I had a good idea?
Quite often.
Often, right? Yeah.
No, just kidding. Never. I'm too focused on this.
Exactly. You're too focused on what you're doing, and our brains are designed to be like that. And this is our animalistic, like we need to focus on the thing. When we're in a safe place, our brain's free to think.
That's true.
So find whatever that safe place is. That's why I love going for a walk. I have ideas in the shower all the time. Somewhere that's relaxing. Like, oh, I've got a great idea. I have a dictation on my phone. I literally, I just have to click here, and straight away note into my to-do list where I can go review that later and I can brainstorm that. I can think about it. I'll have meetings with my business partner and we'll talk it through, and here's the idea that I have, and share it with somebody. And you then take the idea and run it into to like Profit Mind AI and let it go back and forth and support. Is this actually a good idea? And if you have this idea, come up on the show and ask. My saying for the show is there's no such thing as a stupid question, only stupid ideas that come from not asking the stupid question. So come and ask the question and it'll save you having a stupid idea that's going to cost you.
I mean, the times where I've had the best ideas is when my endorphins are super high and I'm going for a walk in a garden or something. Like leaves all over the place, and I'm just like, I'm hearing the chirping of the birds, and then I'm like, that's a pretty good idea. I should do this. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I should do that. Right, I'm pulling this down. So, it is ironic because in the beginning stages, right, like when you're trying to build a business, you have to work like 14, 12, 16-hour days, whatever the case may be. Like a lot of the times that my mentality was always never think. I was like, don't think, just take actions. Work. Sometimes the productivity went down.
Don't think, just do. I mean, that's good advice for different stages of your business. But as you get bigger, you need to do more thinking. And the top CEOs, like Warren Buffett is a phenomenal example. One of the richest men in the world, and he's held that title for extremely long time. He's been up on that list for a long, long time. And he spends 4, 5, 6 hours a day
just reading.
That's how he makes his money. Because all he needs is one good idea or one thing that he's picked up on that's happening. Like, he obviously is a big investor. He's reading businesses. He's reading like what's going on in the markets. All he needs is to know is one major thing that he can deploy a couple of $100 million in, and you can make a lot of money off of.
It reminds me of I think it was a few years ago. I heard a story where I'm not sure if you know who Bob Iger is. He's the CEO of Disney. He used to be the CEO of Disney. He mentioned that he'll think for like 1 to 2 hours a day. Just sit there, like in a room by himself, like nothing. Just there'll be nothing there. Just sitting there thinking. And in my head, I'm like, why would you do that? Like you're running $100 billion corporation, and you're the boss of it all. You're chairman of the board. You're the big guy. Then you're just sitting there thinking. I was like, work more. What's wrong with you? But then later on, I realized why it made sense, because your ideas come as a result. So
it's
it
one
does
of his most important times of his day.
It is, and he says he does it like religiously. That's something he does.
That's one part he'll never miss.
Like just
because you're not going to grow if you're not having ideas. Now AI is trained on history. The things that haven't happened yet, AI doesn't know. So the things that are going to be created in the future are still coming from our ideas. Now, that idea might be prompted by an AI. Now, AI might self-learn and come up with an idea of here's something I think you could do, but a human still has to take action on it.
Yeah, that's true. Because I know a lot of people who think a lot, but they don't take action. But then I know a lot of people who don't think at all, but they do take action. So it's like the ones that take action succeed, the ones that you just think don't succeed.
Yeah, it's an arc. So the people that take action, that don't think, they get more results in the beginning, because the person who doesn't take action is obviously not going to get any results. But they'll plateau because then they need to start thinking more. So in the beginning, it's all action. But then when you get to scaling, this is why a lot of time I teach people, don't think about scaling. You being unscalable is your competitive advantage in the beginning. So do that, build what you need to build, and then we can position you for scaling.
Yes.
And that's how my framework works as well. Scale is last. We need to build all these foundations before we can talk about scaling. People, I don't say the amount of crap you see on social media. Like, people think scale. The amount of people that tell me, yeah, I'm scaling businesses. I'm like, oh, really? How are you doing that? And it's just they're like, oh yeah, run ads and sales. That's not scaling. That's sales and marketing. There's literally a name for sales and marketing. It's called sales and marketing. And and that element of scaling, you need to have systems and processes in place to manage the workload that's coming in, and that's what allows you to scale. Before you can ramp up the sales volume through your marketing, is you need to be in a position to scale. If you can only handle 50 clients, what good's 100 leads, 100 more buyers going to do? You can't handle them. What good is it going to do? So we need to fix that. So at any point, like, there's different types of businesses of different growth spurs. Like, sometimes, like, if you take like an e-commerce based business, you'll have super fast boom because you like pummel the ads, but then you'll hit a constraint, and that'll be a supply chain constraint. Then it'll be like, great, we fixed that, now we can pummel the ads, so we can have a big boom. Then you might have something like SaaS, where it's really, really, really slow, but then when you take off, you can go really big. Service-based businesses are super fast to grow, and you can get people in really quick, but then you plateau because it becomes much harder to scale, because then you've got more systems in place and the margins become tighter. You've got something like media. Media is a really big one. It can have really fast growth as well, and it's a bit more linear. But every business has a different. So when somebody else goes, oh, their business is growing like that, mine's is not working like that. But well, are you comparing similar types of business models?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was actually a pretty good analogy. I didn't actually think of that at all. I'm glad you brought that up. And that was basically all the questions I had.
Sweet.
I'm trying to think about if there is one more question, but everything I needed, I basically just got. I guess the rest would just be things I already know, so it would just be repeated. But yeah, I appreciate your time, Lewis. That was basically it. Is there any question you'd like to ask me in order to get more questions out?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. I think I'm going to wrap up because it was just yourself that I had on this week. The other person couldn't make it. So just checking any comments. Looks like people are happy.
I wish I could see who was in. I wish I could see who was actually in this call. I can't see them. But if you can see me, hello guys, I hope you're doing well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Hamid.
No problem.
And we will you'll see the playback as well.
I definitely will. I appreciate your time, Lewis.
All right, man. Thank you. Catch up soon.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you everyone for joining. We're going to wrap it up there. So unfortunately, we had one person who couldn't make it, so we went a little bit longer with Hamid there. If there's any questions, now is the time to ask. But if not, place you want to apply, I've got it here, or on the other screen, it's here. Oh, look at that. Check out the reckoning.lewis-hunter.com and get a chance to apply. Come on, it's free. Come on, get some help in your business. You can apply to come on in there. And if nobody has any more questions, we will wrap it up there. I see Luke, yep, 21 years old, absolutely. It's all been great. Yep, thank you. Yeah, I will wrap up there. And I'll see you all next week.